Welcome to Between Drafts. I'm Nathan.
I'm Nat. You almost forgot which one you were there.
Well, we have the same name. I'm glad you shortened your name.
Yeah. If it was two Nathans, that'd be too much.
Yeah, but you're Nathaniel on the Husk cover.
Exactly. Yeah, we just need a Nate, and then we'll have the full squad assembled.
Sometime we'll have a guest, and they'll be named Nate, and it'll be perfect.
There we go.
It'll be the best podcast ever recorded.
For sure.
All right, we were going to talk about Empires of Silence. However, Nathaniel has not read it.
I haven't finished it.
Finished it. He started it.
I've started it.
Yeah. So we'll do that next week.
I'm already messing up the first book club. I'm sorry, y'all.
Instead today,
yes,
I'm turning my newsletter into free plus paid. So there will be a paid version of Worldbuilders as well. And we thought that we might talk through why I'm doing that and what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I brought this topic up because I was curious to hear your take on it, how you're thinking about that. Like, obviously a lot of people who are into writing books, fiction and nonfiction, have a newsletter or have thought about having a newsletter.
Yep.
And having a paid newsletter is another interesting way to monetize your writing, which some people do very effectively.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lenny's newsletter on Substack is doing what, like 7 figures a year?
I don't even know.
It's ridiculous. I mean, he's the top.
It's a monster
example. Yeah.
One person business.
I know, it's incredible. He's got to have other employees, right? He's got to have somebody helping. Yeah. But either way, pretty incredible. And Rob Henderson, the author of Troubled, and a very good Substack and newsletter and everything. I think he has, last screenshot he shared, he had about 2,000 paid subscribers. So at, I don't know if it's 7 or 10 or whatever a month, I mean, that's a good chunk of change over the course of a year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My favorite paid newsletter is Story Club by George Saunders, who wrote Swim in the Pond in the Rain.
Yeah.
So that is when I'm looking at this, I wanted some kind of proof that, hey, this idea could work, could be valid.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the only Substack, it's only newsletter in general that I have seen also hyper-focused on story. He doesn't really veer off much at all.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that a lot of the big authors, they'll start by, I want to talk about story, and then they'll just kind of talk about whatever the heck they want.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in paying for that. But George is always story-based, and he focuses on short stories. I think there's a lot of advantages to that with the newsletter, but I don't just want to copy what he's doing. So what I've done is it focuses more on like long form literature, so classics through modern. Like I've talked a little bit about Empire of Silence in it, and the narrative structure of, future Hadrian telling the story of past Hadrian. It creates a very interesting story dynamic. But yeah, so that his paid newsletter is the inspiration for me being like, hey, maybe there's a market for this. So we're going to launch that hopefully Sunday, even though that is Mother's Day. So maybe Monday.
Yeah.
I'll probably just launch it Sunday anyway.
So let's take a step back, though. Tell me a little bit more about Saunders' structure, because it sounds like that was kind of the inspiration for this, right?
Well, this is
the best example?
It's the best example, I think, of a paid newsletter that is either about storytelling or about writing.
Cool.
It's the best one I've found. His structure is he does Q&A a couple times a month, like, I don't know, 1 or 2, somewhere between 1 and 4. I'm not completely sure. And then he does a deep dive on a short story. So he'll say, hey, we read, I don't know, something. He loves the Russian authors, so something like Tolstoy. And then this is his analysis of it. And then there's a comment section where a ton of people will share their thoughts and analysis on it.
Cool.
It's really well done. And I think there's just a lot of space for more stuff like that. And it's really the only one I've done, not the only one that I've seen that does it as consistently at that high of level. And I think I have the audience to try to do that.
For sure.
And so why not? And I think Substack's the platform for it right now because of the discoverability. And Substack is if you want to do a paid newsletter, Substack takes 10%. initially I was like, that seems high. Substacks, I think because that is their only revenue stream, they have optimized that thing like crazy.
Yeah.
If you want to do a paid newsletter, I think it's a no-brainer to use Substack, actually, even though they take 10%. Because every single button, placement, layout is optimized to get somebody to pay for writing.
Yeah. It seems to be the number one thing that they are focused on, is probably even more so than helping you get subscribers, is helping you get more paid subscribers. Because again, that's the only way they make money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll still post some free stuff too. Like, I'm not just going to completely say screw you to free subscribers. Like, I get that not everybody's going to convert. It's going to be 1 to 5% of people who convert is typically the benchmark. And my guess is that is high for a lot of places.
Yeah.
I don't really know. We'll find out. The other way I'm looking at this is just like as a value ladder. I want to have, a free thing, a small ticket thing, which will be the paid newsletter, and then medium, then high price things. So medium being like digital courses or something. High price being, you want to actually work with me one-on-one on something, and I'll do it for you. Stuff like that. So just from a simple business model perspective, I think it makes sense to have a low ticket offer. One thing I don't like about Substack is it has to be subscription. I would love to say, if you give me $150, I'll gift you a free lifetime membership.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I might actually just do that. And
you could do it off Substack. You could have a separate payment link.
Yeah, and be like, hey, Substack, it'd be great if you added this. Until then, I'm just going straight through Stripe, and I'll do it manually.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. I don't think they do. There's no way to do any kind of one-off charge.
Yeah,
exactly. You can't sell products there either, which is kind of crazy. It seems like they could have a bookstore.
Even though they link direct, it's just through Stripe. They don't have their own billing platform. Stripe definitely has one-off payments. It is a choice for them to optimize for recurring revenue, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of businesses have been built on replacing what was once a one-time payment with a recurring payment. It's like, seen all the drama in the last couple of days around the new Whoop release.
I was actually kind of pissed off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Because you have to pay to upgrade to the new one, right?
Because the expectation was set that you would never have to pay to upgrade hardware in their marketing and promotions, and now you do.
Yeah.
It could be $10. I would still be mad.
Yeah.
Because you told me I didn't have to, and now I do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And did they actually say that?
It was all over marketing materials for years.
Kind of feels like they could get sued or something then. I mean,
I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was thinking about that with like Peloton, because I got one of those bikes in 2018. And I mean, it's an expensive bike. It was like, $1,600, $1,800 or whatever. But then you have to keep paying the $40 a month subscription to use it.
Yep.
And so it's been 6 years and change now. And so that's like, 70 months times 40? It's like another $2,400, $2,800?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, in the subscription, which is ridiculous, like framed that way, and that you have to keep paying that just to use your hardware. So I don't like those kinds of subscriptions, because it feels like I'm getting the same thing, but continue to have to pay for it. The nice thing about, at least with a writing subscription, is that you are getting new things, new material.
I also really want it to be not just the writing. I think the writing and because the more I think and write about story, the more I realize it functions differently for everybody. Like, something that works for me might not work for you.
Yeah.
Whether it's your just how you go about what you do, or for your specific story itself, like trying to do something that worked for me and that story might not work. So I think there's a lot of value in getting a ton of different opinions and perspectives, and through Substack, you can do that in the comments or in the chat or whatever you may have.
Yeah.
So that'll be included as part of the membership. And the membership's going to be like not insane, like $5 to $10 a month.
Totally.
Is what I'm thinking. I think that's super reasonable for what people get. And then also going to do like a monthly workshop. So I did this as part of the bigger course I released. I brought in a senior editor from Penguin Random House, and he did a short workshop on what he called like the 3 pillars of success for nonfiction writing.
Cool.
His name's Will Parker Anderson. He's excellent. He's a really good podcast. And it was content, concept, and audience. So can you write content? Concept is what you want to write about, interesting enough that people will pick it up off the shelf. Audience, very straightforward. Can you get attention? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he talked about all 3 of those things, went in depth into each of them and how it's viewed from the publishing house side, which was really good. And people really enjoyed that workshop. So I was like, I should do more stuff like this. And I think as part of this membership, I can do one of those a month and get folks in to talk about their perspective on anything story related. Like, so you could talk about the difference between writing personal nonfiction and sci-fi.
Yeah.
That's an interesting topic. We could get in somebody from YouTube and they talk about how they think about story with their scripts. There's so many different angles to go with that I think it'll never run out of workshops to run. And I think people found it valuable.
For sure. What about short form fiction? Do you think you'll do any of that as part of it, or are you going to stick to analysis?
I don't think so, because I just want to focus on, I want to do the short form nonfiction newsletter style.
Yeah.
And then the longer form fiction. People always talk about, oh, it'd be so cool to do serialized fiction. And I'm like, I'm a reader and I've never gone to find it.
No, I don't read any short form fiction for them, unless it's like something that comes really highly recommended.
Mm-hmm.
It's, going to be a standout piece. Like Andy Weir's The Egg comes to mind, phenomenal short story that I actually read online, but no, I know there are fiction newsletters and stuff where people write short stories or where they aggregate them and share them. And it feels like a pretty small market.
I agree.
Yeah. I've never been that taken by it.
There's one website called Royal Road, I believe.
I've heard that name.
I think it's where the Dungeon Crawler Carl stuff took off.
Oh, cool.
Initially. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure. But I don't think it was like short form. I think that was still longer form. It was, the actual Dungeon Crawler Carl first book, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, lit RPG seems like a genre that could work short form or could work serialized. Because I've heard that too, are you going to serialize the book? Or are you going to try like blogging the book before it comes out? And I've never found that very compelling.
I don't know why I haven't either. Maybe it's one of those like medium is the message thing.
Well, and I think it's usually recommended by people who don't write books. It's like people who are in the blogosphere, people who write articles or something, and like they talk and then they'll say, oh yeah, you could serialize the book. But I don't know many authors who really do that. I mean, in part because it's hard to imagine having the book come out good that way, because once you've published the first chapter on your blog, you're going to feel some degree of commitment to it unless you write the whole book and then release it serialized. But then what's the point of releasing it serialized, I guess, except for marketing?
I completely agree. And like, I was thinking about what I did with writing this novel, The Pendulum Swings, and I would have hated to add that out there as a first draft.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so different.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Same with me for Husk. It's like I wouldn't want the first versions of it floating around.
Yeah. The only thing I would see working are like standalone short stories, maybe in the same universe.
Yeah. Like bonus content for a novel. That I think could work. I think what I might do once the novella's done and when it's publishing is I might send out the first few chapters separately as blog posts.
Yes.
And that feels different because that's basically just like lead gen, top of funnel, creating interest.
Yeah. Hey, test this out. If you like it, buy it.
Yeah. Then here's the link to buy the book. Yeah. And that makes a lot more sense to me.
Completely agree.
Are you going to do anything in the membership related to your book or your books? So like, do they get the ebooks for free? Have you seen anybody do something like that?
That's a good question. I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
I might offer it down the line, but I haven't really thought about it too much. I do think it gives, I'm thinking about this right now, kind of on the fly, flexibility to be like, hey, buy 3 copies and I'll give you 3 months free off the membership.
That's a good point. Yeah, you could do the reverse,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like anybody who's pre-ordering multiple pieces can get access or get past recordings or things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because
something to give away.
We've talked about how for nonfiction, it's not very straightforward. It can be difficult, but it's more straightforward to say, you get 5 books and you get X, 10 books and you get Y.
Get my course, you get my coaching program.
And you see that with all the big nonfiction books being released recently. Nick Huber did that. Cody Sanchez did that. Saul Bloom did. They all do that, and it is great marketing.
Yeah,
it works.
And it moves copies.
It works.
Yep.
So why not do it? Absolutely, should do it. And I have never seen a fiction author do it.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong. If somebody has a great example, I'd love to see that marketing so I can use it. I might as well try it, and I think that gives an opportunity to do it for something that is tangentially related.
I feel like it's tough with fiction because usually the auxiliary goods are merch.
It's like a bookmark.
Or something like that. Yeah. And when it's a physical good like that, it's harder to just give it away.
Because it has a cost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't easily ship somebody a sweatshirt if they buy 5 copies because the cost of doing that might just destroy whatever margin you made from them buying 5 copies.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've seen anybody do that with fiction. I really haven't.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
All the ones I've seen are exactly what you just talked about, where it's special edition. It also comes with a T-shirt and a poster.
Yeah. Like what Sanderson did with the secret projects.
Exactly.
The boxes.
Yeah, which is smart. That super works.
It's a great way to do it. Yeah, and you just charge more, and then you sell all those as extra products. But yeah, how are you thinking about balancing time between? Because you already have the newsletter that you've been doing.
Yep.
And now you're going to have some extra obligations probably with the paid newsletter, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be a few extra obligations. The work, coordinating the workshops, making that happen, making that be really good experience for folks.
Yeah.
But it really is, that'll be, once a month. And the newsletter is still going to be weekly.
Cool.
So that's not really going to change. I already put a lot of time into each newsletter. So I don't think it's going to be a huge change. I will be super active in the comments and all that, so that'll be good. But I think that's a better way to spend my time than scrolling Twitter anyway.
That's a good point.
And so I'll just do that instead of Twitter.
Cool.
I think it'll be just fine, hopefully. Nice. And I think that it's actually a pretty good market. On Substack, it's nice because you can filter by what category. So you can do fiction, literature. The categories are a little dumb. There's 25 of them, and they're pretty random.
Yeah, they did seem a little odd. Distributed.
Yeah, they don't make a ton of sense. But you can filter by category, which is nice. And then you can see, if you're thinking about starting a paid newsletter, I think you should go filter by category and then try to figure out how much money these people are making through their paid newsletters if you're really going to go hard at it. Because Substack tells you whether somebody has hundreds of paid subscribers, thousands of paid subscribers, or tens of thousands of paid subscribers.
Yeah.
And you can see that. And you can kind of back into monthly revenue.
Right.
And see if there's demand. And I think that's a great way to do it. The business section on Substack, really strong.
Yeah.
Dan Coe and Justin Welsh just both launched theirs, and I was kind of chatting with them, and they're like, it's a great platform. It's doing really well.
Cool.
They obviously have big existing audiences already, so that's a huge advantage. I think in the literature space, there was enough on that top leaderboard. I was like, okay, there's room here.
Is there anybody else besides Saunders that you looked at?
There's actually a lot of literary agents who are doing
how to get a book deal type content.
Yes, and that does extremely well.
Yeah, makes sense.
Not sure how I feel about it. Gives me the ick.
Why?
A little bit. I'm like, I don't know. Gatekeeping bothers me.
I guess.
But at the same time, like, a lot of agents don't make a ton of money, and if you can add to that, like, more power to you.
Yeah, and if it helps one of those people get a book
True.
deal.
If it's super helpful, and yeah, that's a good point.
$5 a month for that information is a pretty good investment.
That's a much more positive way to look at it. That's how you should look at it. So yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of authors that just have newsletters because I think they've been told they need to have a newsletter, but they're pretty freaking random. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then Saunders, who's the one who's like highest quality, most consistent, has tens of thousands of paid subscribers and like over 250,000 subscribers.
That's crazy. How long has he been doing it?
3 or 4 years.
That's pretty good.
That's excellent.
I mean, it's George Saunders. So
yes.
Like he's bringing a big name brand to it.
Absolutely.
But still, it's super impressive.
Yeah, it's, as I say, tens of thousands of subscribers. Assume 10,000. My guess would be it's closer to 15.
Yeah.
He does $5 a month. That's great.
It's good money.
Yeah.
It's great money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he could quadruple that price if he wanted to.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's keeping it accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What's going on in Bookland?
Just waiting on the editor. Got the novella first draft done.
Yeah. We were talking about that a little bit. How you feel about the novella?
I feel there's parts of it that I really, really like.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other parts where I feel like there's something missing. But it came in right around 26,000 words.
Cool.
Which is super close to
That's
that
right
Amazon
at that 2-hour
thing.
mark that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try not to add too much. I'm going to try not to add to that and see if I can hit that 2-hour mark.
Sweet.
If it's already that close, why not?
Yeah, may as well. Mm-hmm. I tried to get mine under the 2-hour, and it's too much to cut.
After reading it, I was like, yeah, I don't think he can get
I don't think I could make this much tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess there's the one scene that you said I could make shorter, but I don't think there's... I would need to cut like 4,000 words.
Yeah, that one scene's not 5,000 words.
No, it's not. So, yeah, I think I'm going to hop back into mine next week. Try to get one more draft, send that to a few people, and then aim to get it turned in June 15th.
Nice.
So, although maybe I should just try to get it turned in before Husk launches. I don't know what my timeline's going to be like after launch. I'll probably have a lot of downtime, honestly. It's not going to be that much to do.
Having a third child as well.
Well, yeah, that I definitely have to get the book in before that. That's the hard deadline. Yeah. So I'm aiming for a week before the due date, so I have like some safe buffer there. Mm-hmm. That's the plan.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I know what the real deadline is.
Yeah, that's very much the real deadline.
What have you, because you've been on Substack for a long time. You're like an OG Substack person. Have you thought about doing the paid thing? I've never seen you really. It's always just been your essays.
Yeah, I have. People can pay, but it's pretty explicit that you don't get anything by paying.
Yeah.
I don't have any paywalled posts. There's no like extra content. It's just if you want to support. Mm-hmm. And that obviously hasn't really driven hardly any subscribers.
Yeah. It's like probably like the buy me a coffee kind of thing.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about it though, because I've been thinking about like what I want to do with the newsletter. Mm-hmm. And I just am finding it very hard to prioritize writing like some of the old essay stuff that I used to write.
Like the philosophy focused type
stuff? Yeah. I would just rather focus that energy on the fiction writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even sure if writing those essays converts to selling novels that much.
Who knows?
Like it could not. I don't know. And so what I'm actually thinking I'm probably going to do is switch to like basically making it a book newsletter of like things I'm reading and things I'm enjoying. And then I'm going to, anything that I talk about the business of self-publishing and like building my own like small publishing business, basically, I'm going to paywall some of that.
Nice.
So.
And will that be on the same list or will that be
same list?
Nice.
Yeah, same list, same domain. I'm just going to shift the focus. I've done that a few times in the past and it's been fine. And so, I'll probably lose subscribers if people will go cold, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Especially on Substack because you're not paying for the subscribers.
Which is
huge.
Really nice.
Yeah. I imported all the subscribers to ConvertKit to do my AI course launch. And
you probably had to pay a pretty penny for 1 month.
Well, yeah. And I ended up doing the 1 year because I figured like, I'm going to want this for other marketing stuff. It was $2,000 for a year with 47,000 email subscribers. I'm like, that's a lot of money. Granted, you make it back by selling things and stuff, and it's nice to have all the features, but it's nice that Substack doesn't charge you anything to email all those people. So yeah, I think I'm going to shift it that way because I do these quarterly author updates where I share how the writing business is going. And I think what I'm going to start doing is leave the progress parts of those, like where I am on the books, free, and then paywall the part where I talk about what I've invested, how much the books have made.
I like that.
All of that, because that's the side of it that I think people would be more willing to pay for. And then as I keep working on Husk and subsequent books and start to learn things about like Amazon ads or doing distribution or any of those things, I'll paywall parts of those posts. Just so that like what you're paying for on the newsletter is that more particular advice on like building a self-publishing
It's very
business.
clear.
Yes. Yes. And that's obviously going to be a very small subset of my audience, but I think however many people it is, one, hopefully more of those people will find me and be interested in it. And then two, I think it'd be a pretty valuable focused audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where I wouldn't need to do extra content. Because it's like, I think you're right that doing something like the workshops in the community and whatnot, like that's very valuable. And that's something I think people will resonate with. I know that I won't
be interested
in doing it myself or running it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or have the bandwidth to, honestly. So I'm going to take a stab at that. I think probably starting with the next update on July 1st.
Nice.
That's when the next one should be, right? Yeah. July 1st. Because then I'll have like Husk sales numbers and stuff too, which would be cool to share. Plus like the whole breakdown of whether doing all these pre-orders through my site made sense. Which it looks like it's going to be great for anybody in the US who ordered. I think I'm going to lose some money on the international people. I undercharged for UK shipping. So I've had to adjust that since even to Canada, it is like weirdly expensive to send a package to Canada.
I wonder, has the tariff stuff affected it? Is that a dumb question?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah, but I sent a paperback to an influencer friend in Canada and it was $25.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is
just
a
to
book.
ship it?
Yeah, just to ship it.
Yeah.
I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, this is absurd.
In Canada, they're not far across
It's
the
not
border.
far. No,
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
it's
not
like,
many Canadians north.
I mean, I could send it to Minnesota and then have somebody just throw it. Like, everybody in Canada is within 100 miles of the border?
Yeah. It probably has to go through what? Customs
it has to go through customs. And
there
could be like an import tax. I'm sure there is something like that. Although I feel like books, there should just be no taxes on books.
That was on anything.
Or tariffs.
Yeah, we should just take away taxes.
Or I'm okay with taxes on some things.
Yeah. Don't tax books.
But don't tax books.
That's a t-shirt.
Books should be immune. Yeah, don't tax. Actually, that is
that our
t-shirt.
first merch?
That's our first merch. I'd wear that as a hat. Yeah, no tax on books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like no tax on tips. But
that's
what is
good.
That'll be our presidential platform.
What is it? Yeah, what is the saying? Like, my political party is whatever this is. Or like,
yeah, my political party is whoever
doesn't
takes away
books.
Tax on books.
Yeah.
Well, in the thing
Make America read again.
Make America read again. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. The other thing I didn't properly account for at first when I set up the store was like sales tax in certain states. I think it's only a concern for me for other people in Texas.
How's that?
Because it's a Texas-based business.
Yep.
And so if I'm doing commerce within Texas, I have to pay Texas state sales tax.
Got it.
But if I'm selling to other states, some states I don't. I think there are some states where you still do. And Shopify thankfully helps you figure this out, but it's like a whole mess where you have to like reconcile those tax payments at the end of the year to all the different states and whatnot. So that'll be a fun problem to deal with.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. It's part of the process. Thankfully, like we both have a good number of friends who like run e-commerce businesses. So can always ask them for.
Yeah, you can ask somebody who actually does this.
Who runs like a more serious e-com business. Yeah. Although I will say, I mean, it did like $8,000 in
shipping out
April. So and
500 pounds of books is not nothing.
Yeah, that's not going to be nothing either. I've got them all still in the back of the minivan, so I need to.
Nat's minivan is literally like riding
it's super low rider right now.
Right?
Yeah,
it looks pretty funny.
Yeah, I've got a good video on my Instagram. If you want to see me give Nathan one of the first books, and you can see that the back of the van is struggling resting on the wheel. So gotta get those out and start getting them ready. And yeah, I was saying earlier, hopefully start shipping them out to people late next week. It's pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I dropped Sky's off in his office, and actually I'll show you the picture after. He's got all those red lights in there.
They look pretty good.
The kind of like futuristic neon Tokyo vibe, and it fits the vibe of the book perfectly. The book looks like it was made for that studio.
That's awesome.
So
you should do a launch video in there.
I should. Yeah, it's the right energy for it. Okay, so you're thinking you're gonna launch this coming weekend or Monday?
The newsletter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I see it as something that I'll do for a long, long time. So I just kind of ship it, see what happens, see if there's interest, and go from there.
Makes sense.
And I'll just launch it on the regular newsletter.
Cool.
So,
is it nathanbaugh.com now or
nathanbaugh.substack.com?
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm going to build out an actual author web page on the nathanbaugh.com.
Sweet.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I've been using maruinitiative.com.
That's a good one.
As my author like website for now, because that's the one that I have the call to action in Husk for. And then it has the page to like advertise Husk as well, and it'll have pages for the other books in the future. And so at least while I'm just on this series, I feel like I can start there.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely
make a more general one later. So cool. Anything else from
I don't think
this week that's going on?
Let's we can do another maybe in 2 or 3 months on where the paid newsletter has gone.
It's a good idea.
Like follow up. Hey, this is what I've seen before, and because I'm like anything, probably going to change stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, people actually want monthly writing session. We all get together and write for an hour.
Totally.
See if people are interested in that. If so, we'll do it. If not, we won't do it.
Set up a Discord. Yeah.
If people like the workshops, we'll keep doing them. If they don't, we'll figure something else out. So,
yeah.
Cool. Maybe an update video in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. And next week we'll do Empire of Silence. And then, so today is what, the 9th or 10th? Today's the 9th. So yeah, next week on the 16th, we'll do Empire of Silence. And then maybe the week after that, we should do another Q&A.
Yeah, that was good.
Sometimes there was a lot of interest in that. So yeah, I guess we can just say now, if you have any questions you'd like us to cover, anything related to writing, publishing, books, random business stuff, whatever, send it to us on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. You should be able to find us. And we'll add that to the queue to do in 2 weeks. And then the week after that will be post-Husk launch. Perfect. So talk about how that went.
Yeah, that's a very obvious topic.
Yeah. That'll be fun. All righty. Wrap there.
Let's do it.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. If you're not subscribed, please do that. Definitely check us out on YouTube if you want the video to go with this as well. I'm at Nat Eliason on Twitter or Nat_Eliason on Instagram.
NathanBall27 on Twitter, but find me on Substack.
There you go. Substack time.
Yeah.
And we'll see you all next week. Thanks for listening.